I think we are live. Yeah, we should be. If I've got everything correct this time, at least, right? Hopefully, we have a few people in the chat. Dean as well, Dean O'Hara. Good to see you tonight. Our brother Rich in the chat as well tonight. Great stuff. Zainab, Gary as well, working tonight. Oh, well, the joys. He'll catch the replay, right? Technology. That's what it's all about. Seemingly, right? It won't take over the world, will it? I guess time will tell. Frank, our brother, I'm sure he's about somewhere. Many thanks to everyone. And to Lynn, who will, it will be too late for Lynn tonight, but she can catch the replay as well. But yeah, everyone that is about tonight, much appreciated. I do appreciate you joining. I am a wee bit late. I was watching the football and then fucking I tried to set up a video that I had, but I realized it had no audio. So I had to scrap it basically. But you will see by the title that, yeah, Germ War Tests Part 2. It's revisiting basically a lot of the stuff. I think last time it never got enough. We didn't we didn't give it a big enough punch, I don't think. So we're back again, if you like. Like what is it? Ebola. Is that back again? Is it? Fuck's sake. That wouldn't surprise me. It's one thing after the next, really. I mean, look at today. Look at today, what's going on in the world. It is fucking mental. If you think back to about 10 years ago, fucking hell, what a difference. What a difference today. It is so tyrannical. If you went back to the future, like I've said before, if you went back in time even and told people, they wouldn't believe you, right? They would laugh at you. You would be a nut job, a conspiracy theorist, right? You would be crazy and you'd be witch hunted, basically. But here we are today. Fucking hell, what a world we are in. But yeah, there is hope. But things like this germ tests, or I think more fitting is germ and chemical, or germ or drug and chemical tests. I mean, they call it germs, right? But I don't know. I don't know if I can, to be fair. So I think drug and chemical germs might be a better title for it, to be fair. But to be honest, that is another story in regards to what we're covering tonight. Yeah, that would take a whole nother live stream. Let's face it, if you get into the germ theory and the terrain theory, things like that. Everything is all theory. Excuse me. Everything is all theory. My throat is still a bit rough from the weekend. Believe it or not, I'm definitely getting old now. My voice is done. That's what it feels like. So hopefully it'll last right today. There's quite a lot to get into, so I don't know. We'll see how it goes. I have got, well, I'm quite low actually. I should have sorted that out. I might get a chance. I think I have got a video or two to get into. I don't think we'll wait too long until we get into it. Usually, we're fucking about for ages on one thing and then another, although that is what we will be doing basically tonight. As always, it will be a bit relaxed and yeah, we'll see how it goes, cover a few bits, some interesting stuff and stuff that people need to know. I mean, stuff like this goes way, way back by the looks of it. And if anyone thinks it's not going on today, I don't know what to say, to be honest. Fucking hell, look up, right? Look up every day. For years now, many, many people, they have not been fooled by it. Some people have. Oh, it's all right. It's natural. It's contrails, right? It's all natural, sure. If you believed that, you would believe anything, to be honest. Was World War II the last time they had a big test on humans like today? Um, I doubt it, to be honest. Many countries, the UK included. The UK are probably the worst, to be honest. I think the Japanese, looking at some of their stuff, fucking hell. Oh my god. By the looks of it, they were fucking brutal with the sort of testing that they done. I'm not even sure. Fuck it, we'll get into it, but I don't know. I could be risking getting a strike even. I think I might be alright, but time will tell, right? We've got to watch what we say because, I mean, to be honest, all this as well, it's connected. It's connected with the juice, right? So I've got to watch what I'm saying, but it fucking is. It will be. Uh, you've got to word it carefully. If I remember correctly, I got a strike before, but I think they redeemed it. I think it was about biological biological war weapons, and I got a strike, right? But I think I got it taken off. Although I had excuse me, I had already about 13 different strikes. So I'd imagine there is a lot going on today. Well, clearly there is, but even up until there would be still going on right through the decades. I'd imagine it has never stopped. I think there's actually a graph that we could check that will basically show you that this has never stopped. These things have never fucking stopped. So yeah, hello to MCG in the house, right? Great stuff. Good to have you. Joyce, are you serious, right? Good to have you as well. Tonight, a regular. Good stuff, right? Yeah, well, it is criminal. And a lot of the time, the stuff they have told us about, they've kind of got away with it because the laws against it have came out after. But I mean, if you think it's not going on, I'd imagine it still is. Uh, the truth will eventually come out, I'd imagine. But we know the truth already. The majority of people here in this chat, I'd imagine everyone knows the story, especially with the spraying, right? World War One, a big war poisoning test, but it's been going on forever, basically. Thank you, Frank, for the comment. BitChute, yeah, I have been uploading to BitChute, I believe, right? So you should be checking it out. I upload the Friday fix. I don't upload the live. Maybe I should. To be fair, I probably should. I should download it. I should have it downloaded anyway and upload it. Fucking hell, it would take forever to upload to BitChute. Fucking hell. A 3 hour live. Yeah, we'd be there a while, I think. Yeah, good to have MCG in the house, Frank as well. Yeah, that one as well. I seen the other day. On blankets. I mean, what the fuck? What? I mean, really, what is that about, right? On blankets, laced basically with these chemicals. That's what I'm going to call them. Definitely. Yeah, no problem. I can try and answer any question, but I don't have the answers, to be fair. I don't think many people do. We're always looking, and we never really get there. Like I've said before, we get left chasing our tails in a sea of deception, basically. So we've got to try our best, right? And Nick in the house as well. Good stuff. And Joyce. Yeah, I'll check it out. The Wayne, is it Steiger channel? Yeah, if I remember, I will check it out. But Failing that, you can't link it in. If YouTube will let you, usually they fucking remove it like that. If you put a link, fucking hell, it's gone. Just like that. Like Tommy Cooper, right? Surely everyone knows Tommy Cooper. But yeah, good to have Nick in the house. Yeah, here today and the other day, quite bad, but a lot of rain, a lot of cloud. Hard to see what's going on. Seemingly, there was, because round about here, you can see we're that far north. You can't see what they called it aurora, right? And seemingly, I was hearing the other night there was a sun flare, quite a big one, and yeah, people you could see it, but we couldn't because it was fucking nothing but cloud. But seemingly it was there. That's what they said, and I thought, well, maybe we'll get a shutdown, right? But I don't think we did. I think we're all right. Sun flares as well. That's a fucking whole other story. We'll get into them again as well because they keep talking about them. It's always in the media now, all the fucking time. So when that happens, expect to hear more from it. It's conditioning and action, right? We've got to keep our guard up, for sure. Did I miss anyone there? I don't think I did. Joyce and Nick, great stuff. Good to have everyone in tonight. Tuesday, right? And I will be back again on the Thursday and then Friday. So, well, God granted, of course, right? You never know. Let's see if I can, hopefully tonight, I've got all the audio correct and I'll be able to screen share, no problem. Let's get rid of, in fact, let me remove the comment from the screen. Thank you, Nick, right? Yeah, great stuff. So, let's get down to it, basically, right? For the stuff that we can get into at least. And we'll take it from there, see where it takes us. Who knows? But yeah, feel free to comment and share any other stuff that you can add, right? What I will do is I'll try and jump back in from time to time. But I can't get carried away sometimes, but it just depends, to be fair. And I think my voice will be okay, but you'll probably be able to tell that it's not the greatest. He's got COVID, right? Got the COVID. Oh man, I was hearing today. I'll share this with you before I start. There was a friend of a friend. Let's go with that. Quite close, and they've got a newborn kid, and they were considering a PCR swab test. Fucking hell, they did. They're not going to do it, thankfully now. But fucking hell, imagine that. Honestly, I don't know where people's minds are. I don't know where people's minds are risking that on a newborn kid. We unboxed a PCR test the other day, and fucking hell, it did not look good. But a baby, come on, man. Honestly, I think they have seen sense. To be fair, so I'm hoping that that'll be the end of it. Yeah, I missed someone. Nick the gardener in the house. Good to have you, and of course Dean and Rich. When my strike is up, or one of them at least, I will open the panel up. Although I might do it just on another channel that can be used for that, and then we can share it, right? That might work. So, and let me know how you got on in your live. Was it on Saturday? I wouldn't have been able to help. I was blutered, tuned to the moon, right? So I would have been no use. I can hardly see when I'm drunk. Never mind this. I can hardly see when I'm fucking sober, to be fair. So hopefully everything went well. And if you link it in, I can check it out, right? After the show, maybe put the comment would be better. And I'll check it out. Anyway, I thought I would share that wee story. Stay clear of these things. You know what I'm talking about. I don't even have to say it. We don't even have to say it. Fucking hell. Be sensible, right? Don't be fooled. Don't be coerced in any way, shape, or fucking form. Don't allow it. Do not fucking allow it. Stay strong, right? You've made it this far. Fucking keep going. Plow on. There's a long way to go. So dig deep. And in the end, we're going to get there. Fucking right. We will get there. I can assure you. So, let me see if I can get this right. Screen sharing material, right? Fuck, I've done it wrong already. Have I? Yeah, I think I have. Yeah, fuck. Yeah, share. That would be a good idea. I removed the comments so it won't be in the way. I think most of the people here would have been about for the first germ war tests live that we done. So I think everyone gets the gist of it, right? The spraying. I think before we covered spraying from a plane, spraying from a ship, and a generator being towed by a vehicle on a fucking country road. Hip hip hooray, right? So yeah, that gives you an idea. And of course, it's all to keep everyone safe. And today we're revisiting uh, the germ chemical war tests. Right. So if I can manage it, let me see. Hopefully, it works and the audio's all right. Screen share. I think yeah, we will need the audio. There is a clip or two, possibly more actually. Some of it. There is a few videos on it. Let me see. There we go. I managed it. Hip hip hooray, right? We have liftoff. There you go. But hopefully the audio's okay and we're all good to go. I've not really got it in any order. I was meant to. Put it in an order and write it down. And I forgot because I was watching the football. Scotland as well. Absolute fucking terrible. Oh man. But we won't get into that. That's a fucking whole other story. But let me see. Where are we going to start? I think this would be a good place to start. BBC Spotlight, Porton down Cold War germ warfare tests in Devon, Somerset and Dorset. Right. I put that in the heading, I think, or the description even. So I think it's the place to start. What year? It says 2010 there. Is that the year that 1998 is the broadcast? That's when it's from. And it's in regards to some of what we touched on before that happened in the 60s and 70s. Only then, of course, right? Sure, with the spraying on the unsuspecting public as well, British public. But this has happened right across the fucking world. They are all at it. It's like the agenda. I mean, it's clear to see that it's the agenda. It's happening right across the board. They're pulling the strings right across the fucking board. It doesn't matter where it is. America, Russia, fucking Korea, Japan, you fucking name it, UK. The agenda runs the show. Politicians don't run the show. I know I'm pretty much preaching to the choir here. But how long is it? 7 minutes, right? I think it's quite good for a recap as well. So we're going to check it out. And then there's a few interesting comments as well that I noticed just before I came on. So let me, because I want to get this audio right. So let me fucking mute me for a sec, right?
Extent of germ warfare tests carried out in the southwest. Government documents show much of North and South Devon and parts of Somerset were used for experiments similar to those conducted off the Dorset coast during the 1960s.
An independent inquiry has already been ordered into the Dorset trials to determine whether or not they've affected people's health. In a few minutes, we'll be speaking exclusively to the man in charge of this inquiry. But first, our environment correspondent, Simon Hall, has this special report, which includes film of the trials never previously seen on television.
The germ warfare trials carried out in the 1960s and 70s were highly secret. This previously unreleased film of the experiments as they happened. Their existence was revealed last year when secret documents were declassified. They were thought to be carried out mainly in Dorset. A spotlight investigation has, though, discovered they were far more widespread than was previously thought, taking in parts of Somerset and much of Devon. This is the easternmost tip of Torbay. Out there is Lyme Bay, and it was there that a ship made a series of passes spraying a gas which contained the germs. Now, the idea was to see how the germs behaved and survived as they passed over land. And so the prevailing wind conditions were chosen so that the germs were blown over here across the coastline and into areas such as South Devon. There were 6 runs between October 1964 and May 1965. The lines indicate the ship's tracks. Where the germs were blown to can be seen from the sampling points that were set up. They range from southwest of Torquay to just outside Lyme Regis. The news has caused concern.
Surprised that it happened, horror that it could have happened, and a hope that it's not ever going to happen again.
What would you like to see done about what's happened?
Well, I think the members of Torbay Council will want to raise it with our local MPs. I think at the very least some questions to be asked in the House of Commons.
The experiments were not confined to South Devon. Other trials tested how the germs would survive in different conditions in different areas. These were based not on releasing a gas, but instead on exposing a narrow thread of material coated with E. coli to the air. These tests were carried out in January 1967. The threads were exposed first from a ship just off Ilfracombe, then on 5 other sites running through Somerset down to the sea off Dorset.
I think people of Ilfracombe, when they come to hear of this, will be concerned. For instance, I was in my 20s at this time, in the 60s, and I was just getting married, starting up a family. They'll be worried, will this have any implications on their health or the health of their children?
Concerns have been raised that the tests may have harmed people's health. In East Lulworth in Dorset, 21 families say they have experienced miscarriages and children being born handicapped and with other health problems. Robin Southey was one of the scientists who carried out the experiments. His widow, Anne Reed, is pressing the government for a full investigation into the trials. For Robin Southey died at the age of 33 from a rare disease which led to a perforated stomach. His immune system was said to be almost ineffective. The couple had 2 sons. One died at 17 from a brain tumor. The other suffers serious health problems. Their daughter is healthy.
I was devastated. We had 3 little children. And with hindsight, there were questions I should have asked. But what else do you do when you've got 3 little children waiting at home and you have to go home and say, sorry, Daddy isn't coming home. He isn't better. And our lives were turned upside down.
The government has always maintained the trials were safe. It says the germs used were naturally occurring and were treated to make sure they could not be harmful. It's a view supported by many experts.
Well, health experts with the authority are looking all the time at the community and its health. And we've seen no evidence to date to identify any clusters of leukemia, any unusual health conditions which some people have said have been associated with these tests.
The experiments were carried out at the height of the Cold War. They were designed to assess Britain's vulnerability to a biological attack and to work on methods of defense. The fear, though, is whether some of the people the trials were intended to protect may in fact have been harmed by them. That's a question that should be answered within the next year. The government has said an independent safety review of the experiments will be carried out by a leading microbiologist.
We've been told today that the man leading that independent inquiry into the germ warfare trials is Professor Brian Spratt, who's a microbiologist at Oxford University. Earlier, I asked him if he could reassure people that the inquiry would really have the muscle and the will to get to the truth.
Well, I believe so. I'm an independent academic microbiologist. I have no links with the Ministry of Defence. I wasn't chosen by the Ministry of Defence, so I think my independence is assured. I shall be reading a large amount of technical information about the trials that took place in the 60s and 70s. And I shall be consulting widely, and not only with medical colleagues and with perhaps people that were actually involved in the trials from Porton down, as it was then called. I should also be asking for written presentations from people in the south of England that want to give me presentations. I should be coming down to the south of England and talking to anybody who wants to talk to me. So I hope it'll be a wide-ranging and open and fair analysis of the safety issues of those trials.
Now, secrecy and delays with information have prompted much concern in the past. How swift and how open can this inquiry now be?
Well, I've got access to all of the files that are available, and I should be receiving those very shortly from the Ministry of Defence. And I've been asked to come to some conclusions and write a report within a time frame of 6 to 12 months, and I hope it'll be closer to 6 than to 12.
And the surprising information today that the trials weren't just in the Dorset area, but beyond. Can you examine the other trials that we're now hearing about as part of your inquiry too?
Well, I can't give you a categorical answer to that. As I understand it, some of the paperwork that I will receive from the Ministry of Defence do include trials in the southwest of England. And if that is so, then certainly I'll look at those papers and make a judgment on them.
Professor, thank you.
Thank you.
And if you'd like to discuss the germ warfare trials, you can call your BBC local radio phone in. The number to call is 0645 222269. That's 0645.
There you go. Give it a phone, right? Give it a phone. Fucking say, hey, I've got a fucking bone to pick with you buggers.
Reveal the true extent of germ warfare.
What's this germ warfare spraying that's been happening? I mean, all jokes aside, fucking hell, it's heartbreaking stuff when you get down to it, in terms of the effects, the actual effects that it's had on people who stayed in these areas that they sprayed. Absolute fucking criminals, a lot of them. It's unbelievable. It really is. If they didn't tell us, you would think probably that it wasn't true. At least an average sheep would think that. But it's there for all to see. I mean, again, if people think it's not going on today, I think they've got a lot to learn. Comments are turned off. I don't know why they should be. I thought it was a different video that had comments on it. That's interesting. I'm sure it did before. It had a couple of comments. One of them mentioned the juice. So it's maybe fair that we don't mention it, to be honest. We might get the strike. But I think that's quite a good roundup in terms of at least what happened then, right? Well, not then, but between the 40s and 70s at least. This article here, I think, reject fucking anything that they give you, right? Anything that the government give you, reject it. Do not accept it. Take their money, maybe, yeah. But anything else, no. I'm fine, thanks. Tell them that, right? Especially when it comes to the medical side of things, right? Look after yourself. We don't need a nanny state protecting us, but that's what they want. It's all part of the fucking plan, man. Yeah, it's all part of the agenda. The truth about Porton down. All right, the truth. Okay, so we're in the right place. The UK government are going to tell us the truth about Porton down. This is the technology laboratory for science defense, basically, and other fucking weird, fucked up shit. I mean, fucking hell. I do apologize for the language, but that place, Jesus, it needs taken down, taken out. So let's see the truth, right? The truth from the government of all people. I'm sure it will be the truth, right? Can we get that up a bit more? Because I'm I'm as blind as a fucking bat. Yeah. The UK's chemical and biological weapons program was closed down in the 1950s. Right. Since then, Porton Down has been active in developing effective countermeasures to the constantly evolving threat posed by chemical and biological weapons. Right. To help even develop effective medical countermeasures and to test systems. We produce very small quantities of chemical and biological agents. Right. They are stored securely and disposed of safely when they are no longer required. Yeah, I fucking bet they're disposed of, eh? Right on top of the fucking unsuspecting British public. Yeah, disposed of. Yeah, I guess that is the truth then. There you go. So yeah, they shut down the program, right? But the place stayed open, but they moved on to something else. Of course they did. Right, of course. That's the truth, seemingly. What else have they got? Animal testing. Hip hip hooray, right? Where would we be without that, I guess? All hail the animal testing. It's horrendous. Safe and effective protective measures for the UK and its armed forces could not currently be achieved without the use of animals. Wow. There you go. There you have it. All hail animals. I guess cats and dogs, right? Maybe monkeys. Yeah, nerve agents. These provide protection against exposure to nerve agents such as sarin and VX. Yeah, I bet it does. This is used combo pen containing atropine. There's going to be a lot of words here that I will probably struggle with. That could be a common theme tonight, to be honest. Yeah, containing atropine, P2S, and avisaphone. Yeah, let's go with that. This is used when individuals are showing signs of exposure to nerve agent poisoning. Right, so we need that clearly. Yeah, and antibiotics. So there you go. We clearly need antibiotics, right? There would be no other way to sort any health fucking condition out other than antibiotics. Right? You've got to go with antibiotics. That's what they want you to take. Someone mentioned actually that if you take antibiotics, you should then take probiotics. And I've never heard of that one before, to be fair. I always advise the least fucking medication, the better for your body. In my opinion, if you don't need it, don't take it, right? I know in America it's quite bad. But here it's just as bad. In Scotland, people take fucking all sorts for anything. So I think that is right across the board. But I personally, I try my best not to. And I don't like the thought of, oh, I took that, so I better take this to balance it out. And then you've got to take more of something else. And then eventually you're taking tablets because you're taking too many tablets to help your stomach, right? Because you're taking too many tablets. I remember someone told me that. I thought, fucking hell. So they're giving you more tablets to help your stomach because it's suffering because you're taking too many tablets. How does that even make sense? I do not, that is the God's honest truth. But I do not know how that fucking made any sense. But there you go. I guess medication. They just throw medication at fucking anything and say, take it. It'll help, right? I think a lot of the time it can cure symptoms, but never the root of the cause. It seems to come back. Human volunteers. What have we got here? Yeah, well, I mean, they still do use humans today. Humans volunteer for it. There is a lot of fucking crazy people out there. But even today, they don't even have to volunteer. I mean, they're doing it willingly. I mean, look what's going on. Look at what's going on with the juice. I mean, what is it? They're all volunteering for it willingly. A lot of them getting it because they're coerced, of course, and no other reason but, which is fucking criminal. And it's kind of heartbreaking because, I mean, I really do feel for these people. They're victims. They are victims. I know a lot of people say, well, it's their own fault and they're stupid and all the rest of it. And yeah, maybe so, but no one's fucking perfect at the end of the day. And they're victims. And like I've said before, we're all fucking victims of this agenda. So the best thing we can do is stick together, even if the person's been juiced. Outstretch your hand to them and take them under your wing. Maybe not too close, right? But take them under your wing at least, and try and help them. Maybe because fucking hell, they're going to be feeling it, especially if they are affected by it. So seemingly they had one death of a guy. This is a bit weird. This one. Death of a leading aircraftsman, Madison. The death of aircraftsman Ronald Madison in 1953 was a tragic and regrettable incident. He died following participation in a trial which a number of small drops of the nerve agent sarin were applied to the forearm through 2 layers of cloth. Right. An inquest returned a verdict of unlawful killing in 2014. Sorry. Let's get it right at least, right? He is the only member of the UK Armed Forces to have died as a direct result of participation in experimental tests carried out at Porton Down on behalf of the MOD. Right. Okay. I guess that's the truth. Sure. Porton Down has always been open about the fact that aircraftman Madison died at the site. Right. Oh, that's very, very kind of them, I guess, right? They must be open about everything then. I mean, what were they doing there? Dripping it on his arm? What was it, a prank? I mean, fucking hell. And it dripped on his arm and he died. Or was that the test itself? And it was like, well, shit, yeah, that's too much. 4 drops is too much. We need to break it down into particles and spray it in the fucking air in what they will call, probably, aerial release trials, right? That's what it's all about. During the Cold War period between 1953 and 1976, a number of aerial release trials were carried out to help the government understand how a biological attack might spread across the UK. Right, because, yeah, the Russians and the fucking, I don't know, Taliban. Yeah, the Taliban. We'll go with that. They could do it, right? From a cruise ship. Or they might buy a generator and attach it to a fucking vehicle and drive around the countryside. Plenty countryside in Scotland, so I better keep my eyes peeled for that one, right? And I did get told the other day by someone in the live there was a Taliban farmer in Scotland somewhere. I'll need to check him out. I'll need to remember that. Where was I? Given the international situation at the time, these trials were conducted in secret. Of course, right? You wouldn't want anyone knowing. You wouldn't want anyone knowing about this. But I mean, it's totally safe. The chemicals, the drugs, it's all safe. But shh, don't tell anyone, right? But it's totally safe. Let's go with that. The information obtained from these trials, has been and still is vital to the defence of the UK from this type of attack. Two separate and independent reviews of the trials have both concluded that the trials did not have any adverse health effects on the UK population. Yeah, sure. Let's go with that, right? The good old government keeping us right, telling us the truth. No one got harmed. Forget about that report that we just seen with the babies, the miscarriages even, and fucking hell, everything else. The people that died, the guy that was unbelievably, would you believe it, 33, right? I thought that was quite funny. And yeah, it had the syndrome as well. This, of course it has. The syndrome basically in real time is behind as well when the truth comes out. Like this. When did it happen? Between the 50s, 60s, 70s. Then they came out and told the truth in 2001. So in time to come, what more fucking truth are they going to come out and we'll be like, yep, fucking told you so. Although the majority of us, they'll probably wipe out by then. And other people, we didn't know any different, really, to be fair. What else? Ebola, fucking hell, no doubt, right? Ebola would be there, of course. DSTL has an active research program on Ebola and played an important role in the UK's support to Sierra Leone during the recent outbreak. Right. Scientists provided advice on the biological and physical aspects of the virus, as well as deploying highly skilled research scientists to the diagnostic laboratory at the Kerrytown Ebola Treatment Unit. Of course it did. All its scientists and experts in Scotland. Is it Granard? I don't even know how it's pronounced. I should, because I am meant to be Scottish, right? Oh, well, there you go. But during the Second World War, Porton down scientists developed a biological weapon using anthrax spores. Of course they did, right? I mean, yeah, that's what you do. That's what you wake up in the morning thinking about doing. Sure. Trials were held on, I think it's Gernard Island off the coast of Scotland. Anthrax spores can remain active for decades, and it was seemingly decontaminated in 86, right? But it'll still be poisoned. Let's face it. And it seems to go on. The destruction of chemical war weapons, disposing of it. The good guys, right? Yeah, we're going to dispose of it because we're the good guys. Sure. So why is it still in Scotland then? Especially when we don't want it. Alien bodies. They had to mention that. For some reason, I don't know why. They had to mention this, but there you go. Seemingly, no aliens, either alive or dead, have been taken to Porton Down or any other DSTL site. Oh well, there you go. No little green men, seemingly. I haven't heard in the past of anything about aliens at Porton Down. Maybe other people have. Possibly UFO sightings, I'd imagine. So maybe it's connected to that. But interesting that they would mention it there. And in 2016, this came out. The British government telling us the truth. Sure. Let's go with that. Anyway, we'll jump on from this article at the moment. I think actually there's another British government article here that I found today. UK Parliament, it's from. It's basically a debate, a recording of a debate. They write everything down, of course, right? When was it from? 1954. Germ war test, Bahamas. So not only were the British doing it on their own people, they were away doing it in the Bahamas. Fucking unbelievable, man. So they are. Absolute fucking criminals. It's shocking. It really is. The worst type of criminals, the British government. Of course, the agenda behind it, pulling the strings. But the people at the government, right throughout, fucking hell, spineless criminals at the worst kind you could ever fucking imagine. Honestly, I can't even find the right words for them. They are that fucking bad. A criminal's not good enough. It's fucking not. Anyway, what does it say? Hopefully we're still going. Let me just double check. Yeah, we're still going. Great stuff. Comments still going. Fantastic. Good. I had to make sure. Hopefully everything's okay. So yeah, the Bahamas. There you go. I don't think they mentioned that in the fucking previous article. Of course not, right? So this guy, Mr. Donnelly, to begin with, can I make that a wee bit bigger? I'm hoping people can see it. Mr. Donnelly asked the Minister of Supply whether he will make a statement regarding the Germ war test in which HMS Lomond has taken part. Right, so it was a British battleship, right? Let's go with that. Fucking HMS Lomond. A naval ship, I guess. Not very good on my navy boats, so, but yeah, I'd imagine that is a navy ship. It would have been probably spraying from the fucking exhaust stack out in the Bahamas. So the guy replied, "Yes, sir, the trials have gone off satisfactorily. The weather has been excellent and the arrangements worked smoothly. Valuable information has been obtained. The activities planned for this season are now concluded and the party are due to arrive back shortly." So fantastic, right? Great. I bet the people in Parliament were applauding. Fantastic. We've learnt valuable information. For what exactly? For war. But for war on fucking who? On us. Of course, right? Who else? Who else would it be? I thank the right honourable gentleman most warmly for that answer. I mean, fucking hell, who speaks like this? But can he possibly give us some information to the effect that our money has been well spent? Because, of course, they would be spending the British taxpayers' money, hard earned money that the government just fucking take from you. And that's it. No say about it. So, what did he say? Well, what did he reply? I do not think that I should add anything to the full statement which I have already made. Typical. It's typical British politics. It gets nowhere. So he then says, is the growth of the germs affected by the weather? Now, ain't that quite an interesting question to be asking? Is the growth of the germs affected by the weather? Interesting one, that. As the various factors were also available off the Isle of Wight, why were not the experiments conducted off the Isle of Wight instead of off the Bahamas? Right. So clearly there as well then. To which then the guy replied, perhaps the honourable member would suggest that we should have conducted the experiments off the coast of Ayrshire in fucking Scotland. Yeah, fuck off. You can fucking forget it. But, I mean, I don't think anywhere will be escaping these tests that they've had, and they will be still going on. Probably as we fucking speak. So yeah, I thought that, I mean, what a cheeky fucker saying that. That fucking annoyed me. Him saying that, right? But yeah, he was clearly annoyed being from Britain that the guy said, well, why didn't you have it here in Britain instead of the fucking Bahamas, the poor people in the Bahamas suffering it? I mean, I wonder what happened to fucking some of them because of it. And then he's like, well, maybe they should have done it in Scotland. Right? Of course, no one wants it done on their back, fucking in their back garden. But it will be happening. I mean, come on. Who are we trying to kid? It will still be going on today. So yeah, I came across this today, actually. And I think there will be more to come like it. This is part 2. So, I mean, yeah, there will be a part 3 to come. This article here. What have we got? Let me just have a drink. Whiskey again. Whiskey in the jar. Not whiskey, not tonight. Yeah, fucking hell. I really couldn't imagine coming on here drunk, honestly. It just would not happen. I wouldn't be able to manage it. I think it would be funny, but I couldn't do it. It would be pretty funny, I'd imagine. You'd get to laugh at me at least. I put that in the headline as well. About this journal. Killing without the distressing. I can never say that word. Preliminary. I can never say it. Honestly. Oh man, I said it earlier on, and I should have saved it. Oh man. Preliminary. Oh man, I can't say it. Honest to God, I can't fucking say it. I feel like I can't say it for some reason. But there you go. I'm sure everyone can see it, right? If I try and say it, I'll just make a fool of it. Preliminary. I just can't say it. Preliminary. I can't say it, honestly. I can't fucking say it for some reason. I can't say it, but I just can't say it just now. Right, we'll go with that. But Here we go. Let's have a look. I wasn't going to. I should have stayed clear of it, right? Is it the full paper? I don't think it is. But killing without the distress of someone being killed. Yeah, that's what you want, of course, in any war, right? You want to kill people without them knowing that they've been killed. I mean, it's like the ultimate fucking weapon. Let's face it. Oh, what's going on? It's not highlighting. This article presents historical cases in which British scientists. I need to fucking make that bigger. Principally, scientific advisors have attempted to defend research of biological weapons. Yeah, they've got to defend it, right? Because it needs to be done to defeat the Germans and the Russians, right? Of course. Although the historical record is scant, there is a degree of continuity. Fucking hell. I can't say that either for some reason. Oh, man. In their justifications, right? So, they've got continuity in it, and a number of these themes can be identified. It was argued that biological weapons research is morally justified because it produces humane even weapons. Sure, that is no different from medical or other research, right? And that it is being performed for defensive purposes. Sure, it is argued that the defense is directed primarily towards other scientists working on germ warfare and was formed part of the moral economy of that secret community. Now, when I read that earlier on, I didn't have any problem or issue. But there you go. When you're on the spot, it's different. And I am terrible with certain words. It's a nightmare. I struggle to say them. But I think this as well pretty much says it all. The only reason they were doing it is because another country had scientists doing it. Of course, that's the agenda. It was the agenda. And using fucking a boogeyman. Well, the Russians would have used us as a boogeyman, and we would have used them as they still do today. And they try and say that it's humane and that it has to be done. But it doesn't. In my opinion, it fucking doesn't. We'll leave that one for just now, for the time being. All right. We might come back to it. We'll see. I came across this the other day. This quite a good wee website, actually. nr23.net. From the deep in the Golden Triangle, Norwich. Right. So, yeah, if you're from Norwich, you've got every right to be fucking pissed off, in my opinion, or any other of the places that are mentioned, because fucking hell, it's criminal what they done. It really is. At the time, I don't think they classed it as illegal, but later on, it was illegal. But the damage had been done, of course, right? It was too little, too late. So what have we got here? This mentions again about the spraying that happened. Zinc, cadmium sulfide, right? Over 100 miles from the target area. Fucking hell. The ones I see, they look like they're right above my fucking head. You can almost feel it fucking coming down on you. It's that bad. When it's constant, it's fucking... it's hard because you see it all the time. And the majority of people here, we know what's going on. It's the agenda in full fucking swing. I mean, what are they doing to the atmosphere? It's quite worrying in a sense. If we can stop it, then yeah, things might change. But the way it's going, it's already well underway. I think they're practically halfway there, if not more than that, to be fair, with what they want to do with the atmosphere. Basically, destroy it. I think they kind of want to control it, control the weather, but I mean, the atmosphere itself, every part of it, like a fucking mesh, basically. Well, they talk about the mesh at the moment for Wi-Fi. I guess similar to that. What else did I see here? I think that's some of the trial areas. Ice Whale, that's a ship that they used to basically spray. Here it is here. I mean, from Portland Bill to Lime Bay in 1963. That was the ship. Lime Bay. I wonder if that's where... Is that where Lyme disease comes from? I think that gets mentioned as well. 33 minutes. There you go. Would you believe that? That's how long it's sprayed for. 30 fucking 3 minutes. Come on. Oh, man. What is this one here? In December 1997, John Chisholm, Chief Executive of the Defence Evaluation Research Agency, DERA, a part of the Ministry of Defence, admitted that BG may cause disease in immunocompromised, right? Their immune system's compromised people. BG being biological. Oh, it would be that, wouldn't it? The Gollaby, the glob. We covered that before as well, and I struggled to say it. What would it be? Globigy. We'll go with that, right? They claim that that's harmless. We looked into it, but I fucking very much doubt it, to be fair. I very much fucking doubt it. And they're saying that it may cause disease in immunocompromised people. Yeah, no fucking shit. I mean, look at the amount of fucking spraying that's been going on. It has been through the fucking roof. And it could kind of point to why some people are not quite what they used to be. Well, everyone probably, to be fair. The strain of BG used in these experiments was obtained from... I need to fucking make this bigger. Was obtained from the US Army Biological Warfare Laboratory at Fort Detrick in May 1998. Dr. John Reed, then Minister of State for the Armed Forces, admitted that staff at Porton Down had been unable to find evidence of routine toxicity testing of the imported BG prior to its use in these experiments. Right, sure. I think it's, yeah, kind of got graphs there. I don't know if you can see that very well. I think that's from the ship. Yeah, across, they tracked the line. That's the line track across Lime Bay. They watched it as it travelled inland. They sampled it. Fucking all looks very familiar, that, to be fair. That's some of the stuff that they used. Land Rovers to test the air. Various types of stations, right? They've got many of them now. Fucking, they are everywhere, especially up here. A scary amount, actually, of different stations and places that are so secret that could be fucking anything. I think we get an idea of what it is. It's not a ship there. I think these again are ship lines. Ship chemtrails, basically. Again, that's patterns that look familiar. These are them crossing. Yeah, ship tracks. That's them in action. What else did I see in this? Quite a bit, actually. There is another article. Yeah, we see that one quite a lot. The two, and then one across, and then it seems to carry on like that. Oh, like a grid, really. I mean, I'm sure everyone has seen that. Fucking hell, even here in the northeast of Scotland, I see it. Let me see. This is the same website here. But this time it's about Norwich, right? And spraying aerosols at night in built up areas. Good old Porton down. Excuse me. That guy looks familiar. We might check out that. Again, this is a lot of the stuff that we've covered. I mean, there is a lot out there, to be fair. But what this has got, more importantly, is some of the, or at least some extracts from the fucking document that I tried to get, but I couldn't get it. Not as of yet. I have through this I've got most of it, I think, but I can't seem to get the full 60 fucking page document that they're on about. It seems like one guy got to see it, and then some of it got released, but maybe not all of it. Although maybe other people have found it. They could be scrubbing it, to be fair. But we will look at it. So we have got different, I think there's a memo, a Porton Down government memo, which is interesting. And then there's the experiments themselves in the actual report that we talked about in the original Germ live stream that we done. Let me see. There's quite a few fucking videos in this. Clouds of Secrecy. I don't know if anyone's seen that. I'd imagine people have heard of it. I think it was a book. I could be wrong. Maybe it's just a video, but I think it was a book. Was it? I think it might have been, yeah. Let me see how long this is. 29. It's a wee bit longer than I thought.
50 years ago, secret biological warfare trials were carried out in the skies and on the streets of East Anglia without the public knowing. So alarming are our discoveries that tonight's programme is an Inside Out special.
Were 3 deaths from cancer in this woman's family the result of spraying cadmium from military aircraft?
I really put it down to the cadmium being dropped, and it was settled into the soil.
So Sounds quite interesting, actually. I think we might watch a wee bit more of that. And then there is a few other bits. There's quite a lot, actually. There's heaps, right? I've only picked out certain bits, but we have got a few more bits to cover. But we'll play a bit of this and get a bit more detail as to what this fucking spraying actually done to people, right, that came forward. So let's jump back. Are we still going? Yeah, we're still going, thankfully. Hopefully no one's run away. I try my best. It's different when you're live. It's like, fuck, I don't know. I don't really feel pressure, but you want to get it right in the same breath, but I try and make it relaxed as well. AKA Zomniac. Good to have you tonight. Good stuff. And Pedro as well. Fantastic. And I Spy Sky in the house. James Malcolm, our Scottish brother. Good stuff, brother. Good to have you. Did I miss anyone else? I'll quickly check. I doubt that I did. We never get we never get a lot of people, to be fair. I don't expect a lot. It's more the quality rather than the quantity. And in terms of the quality of the people who watch this, fucking hell. It's amazing. It really is. You're fantastic people. And some of you are so fucking switched on. I take my hats off to you. Big time. And Joyce, yeah, I don't think I missed anyone. So yeah, good stuff. And we are still going. Audio's all good. And yeah, comment away. Great stuff. Interesting because my soil outside is fucked and my plants don't look good. Grow awesome inside. Yeah. Fuck yeah. That's what they want, isn't it? Let's face it, that's what they want. That's basically what I was saying the other day. Eventually, we're not going to be able to even live off grid. They're going to fucking have that much control. We're not going to get away. We're not going to get away with just living off grid. The soil will be fucked. The air will be fucked. There'll be no water. It'll be too humid. It'll be this, that, and the next thing. It'll be torrential rain. It'll be flooded. It'll be all these things that they can fucking manipulate and control. So then they're going to sort of gather us up. Yeah, round us up. Like the sheep that we are, round us all up and put us into this fucking smart cities that they keep talking about. And then put the dome over it, right? Like the Simpsons. And then inside there, you'll be able to grow. There'll be water because they'll control all the fucking water. I mean, that's the way it's going to fucking go. Look at the way it's heading. I mean, it's evil and it's going to be even worse. But we're kidding ourselves if we can't see that this agenda is evil to its absolute fucking core. I mean, it doesn't matter who or what you are. If you cannot see that by now, I really don't know what to tell you. Honestly, fucking hell, open your eyes, man. Look around you. Look at the world that we live in. For decades now, my whole life, the world's basically been a fucking tragedy. It really fucking is. And hey, that's not just being a Scotland fan, right? That's a tragedy in itself. And of course, being from Elgin, another tragedy in itself. But right across the world, fucking hell. When you think about it, when you think about all the things that have happened, and if you add to that, when you come to the realization that basically everything is deception and lies, it's like, fucking hell, what the fuck is going on? What is the actual truth? What's it all about? Where's it all going to go? Of course, that would keep you up all night, asking all them questions. You've kind of got in a sense, you've kind of got to roll with it, but at the same time, fight against it. And I guess in a way, it's about finding the right balance for yourself. Because when you're awake, you will not go back to sleep. That will not fucking happen. You will not go back to sleep, right? So you need to get with the program and fight against the fucking tyranny. And if you haven't subscribed to I Spy Sky, then check him out. Great stuff. Good to have you tonight, brother. Much appreciated. Plan is falling apart every day. Goes by, gets worse for them. Yeah, that is true, but I mean, they've got a lot up their sleeve yet. I mean, in my opinion at least. Hey, I don't want to shoot anyone's fucking hope down. I still have got hope. I will never fucking give that up. No fucking way. And I'll never give up the fight more than anything. But I think, yeah, we're not quite toe to toe yet with it, but it's getting there. It's fucking getting there. Thank you, Frank, for that. Great stuff. Well, Frank is the man to speak to on EMF, right? He's the guy to see. No two ways about it. He'll keep you right. Yeah, ask Frank. I'm going to get a t-shirt that says, ask Frank. Right, and just walk about with it. And if anyone asks, I'll let them know. Yeah, go and see Frank. He'll keep you straight. But yeah, I really do have hope. And Frank could be, as always, on the fucking money. I think every day a lot of people are. They've had enough. They're waking up. They no longer want to take part. They no longer want to comply. And I can't blame them. What if we went 120? We've got quite a lot to get into. But I do want to share this as well. I think it's good to have other content in amongst it. I quite like that on a live stream. Some people might not, right? But we're going to roll with it here at That's Life, but not as we know it. We roll with it, right? And we take it from there. So, let me go back onto... Fuck, where was I? This... Here. In fact, let me mute me so I don't fuck it up, right? And then I'll play the video.
It was top secret. It mustn't be told to the people what was happening. I think it does matter, you know, in terms of the health of people, that they know that this is being inflicted on them.
We came to the conclusion that no one is likely to have suffered any harm from the amounts of zinc cadmium sulfide they might have encountered even in a worst case scenario.
In the 1950s, as the Cold War escalated, there were fears that Britain, as an exposed, vulnerable island, could be devastated by a biological or chemical warfare attack.
In readiness for possible war, people living in vast areas of Bedfordshire, Norfolk and the East Coast became guinea pigs in covert defence experiments. Inside Out disentangles the facts from the deceit to reveal a disturbing chapter of secret history that may prove to be at odds with the official line. A chemical concoction comprising cadmium was used to mimic how a biological germ cloud would spread if Soviet Russia released one during an attack on us. Rural Bedfordshire was sprayed from aircraft and, more shockingly, from a converted lorry. The city of Norwich was hit over a sustained period. The Ministry of Defence have consistently said there was no significant health risk as a result of the experiments.
I used to work in the cancer field, and I always knew that cadmium, you know, was a deposit in your body that you oughtn't to have. Why they chose cadmium, why they did the whole test, you know, is a mystery to me.
In 1963, Norfolk was first sprayed with this chemical. At the time, Yvonne Jarman lived on Halvergate Marshes near Great Yarmouth. There was no history of cancer in her family before then.
First of all, my mother had esophageal cancer, and she died with it. And then my sister, she had esophageal cancer, and she died with it October 2005. And then my brother, he died with it, and this was earlier this year. And now I've got it.
Do you believe then that Halvergate could have a higher concentration of this cadmium because of its position and where the wind would have blown the zinc cadmium sulfide at the time of the tests?
Well, I don't know if it could have been any more there, any more than it is in other places, but I'm pretty sure that Halvergate had its fair share.
Inside Out has delved deeper into this story. Not only have we discovered that scant regard was paid to the safety of these experiments, but that there were highly questionable ethics involved. So how did it all come about? In the 1950s, the Russians were taking an aggressive stance, yet if war came again, it would be played under different rules. Chemical, biological and nuclear weapons were waiting in the wings. Here in Britain, the Defence Research Establishment at Porton Down in Wiltshire was doing its best to find ways to protect us.
Porton Down wanted to find out if the Soviets launched a biological cloud off the coast of Britain and it rolled across Britain. They wanted to see what effect it would actually have in killing people and inflicting damage on Britain.
So what they had to do is look around for something that they called a simulant. Now, a simulant is a supposedly harmless substance that mimics all the properties of a real biological warfare agent. And they settled on a substance called zinc cadmium sulfide. What would happen quite often is a plane will fly off the coast, started at Cromer, flew down past Lowestoft, down the east coast, and then along the English Channel, always spraying zinc cadmium sulfide all the time, quite large quantities of it, at least £1 a mile. Some of these particles will get stuck in the sampling units. The sampling units are then taken away, they're studied, mainly by having a fluorescent light played onto them, and the individual particles of the simulant are then counted by a scientist.
Frontline RAF bases like Cardington outside Bedford were redeployed for defence against an enemy which was yet to show its hand. Today the military presence has gone, but hidden ghosts still linger. Most prominent among the remains now are the two vast hangars which housed airships like the famous R101. But also stationed here was the balloon defence establishment, and connected with that is a far darker history. Although the future for airships was uncertain, the technology still had a use in weather monitoring. The balloon defence establishment emerged from the Second World War, fired up with all sorts of secret military work that could be disguised as meteorology. So clandestine were its operations that even employees were kept in the dark about what was going on.
We worked in this hangar on the balloons, repairing, inflating, rigging them. The people that did the weather balloon, which was just around the corner here, they attached various instruments to it, but I mean, I don't know what they were.
Another former balloon defence serviceman, Bob Musket, has lived in Cardington for most of his life. While he worked on the base, gossip was commonplace.
During the time I was there, the rumours were rife about this. They were experimenting with different things. The major one was gas, the use of gas in wartime.
What you don't know, you don't worry about. So if they're doing something that they haven't told you about, then the fewer people that know about it, then it's a better kept secret, isn't it?
At the time, Porton Down was a completely secret establishment. It was barely known about. So it was just a sort of reflex action at the time that everything they did was kept in complete secrecy. And their argument was that you couldn't tell the public what was going on, because if you told the public what was going on, then the Russians would find out.
These open-air biological trials might never have come to light if it wasn't for people like Mike Kenner. Styled as an open government campaigner, Kenner has made full use of the Freedom of Information Act to obtain access to locked-away government files. He's unearthed some startling facts about what went on in East Anglia. But there's one secret that has turned Kenner's investigation on its head.
Recent document has come to light from Porton Down which shows that they didn't check this substance for toxicity prior to the spraying, or indeed even afterwards. The former Porton scientist who investigated this in 1999 was quite surprised that no one had bothered to research on how this would affect the public.
This is a copy of the official report. It acknowledges that cadmium is a poisonous heavy metal, but it was not tested for its toxicity prior to the experiments. Alarmingly, this was admitted to be a deficit.
Normally, a substance used by Porton Down, especially in a public area, would be subjected to a toxicity test. This toxicity test would mean that the substance was given a unique T number. Zinc cadmium sulfide has no T number. No one appears to have looked into the ramifications of breathing this substance in, especially in the size that they sprayed it in, between 1 and 5 microns, which obviously means that it gets deep into your lungs.
Coming up, the lanes of Bedfordshire turned into an outside laboratory.
The amount of cadmium we're exposed to anyway, which is released by industry into the atmosphere, is very much greater than anyone was exposed to from this.
We know something that potentially was harmful was introduced into the atmosphere here.
In and around Cardington, at least 55 field tests were carried out over a 6-year period. We've discovered that 32 of them involved the use of a specially converted van. This enabled the chemical compound to be sprayed secretly out of a vent in the roof.
The main thing with the Cardington trials was the amount of experiments that were carried out per day. Sometimes, the minimum, I think, was 4, and then the maximum was 6 on some days. So many trials were done on the same day. The quantities were huge. In fact, Porton Down sprayed in one series of trials in one day. They sprayed so much that all the trials results merged together. They couldn't tell the individual trials apart. Scientists who were actually providing the source, they were completely protected against this substance. Yet, a few yards away from the van, there were people walking around totally unprotected. It sounds dramatic, but there would have been newborn babies in prams, there would have been young children, there would have been old people, there would have been people with asthma. If you lived next to that route, you were really taking in quite a large dosage over a very small period of time.
And now that you know a van drove around the village lane spraying cadmium, does that horrify you?
It does horrify me, yeah, especially where the children are involved as well. And the idea of spraying different villages, the roads in different villages, is absolutely abhorrent, as far as I'm concerned. It should never have happened.
This lack of thoroughness by Porton Down caused a problem for the Labour government in 1999. Fearful of inheriting something damaging from the past, they ordered a review into whether there were any health risks from the trials. The inquiry was led by a medical professor from Cambridge.
The Ministry of Defence invited the Academy of Medical Sciences to review the evidence after it became public knowledge that these trials had taken place between 53 and 64. It became public knowledge they had been taking place, concern was expressed, and they wanted an independent scientific body to go over the evidence and to advise whether anybody is likely to have come to any harm.
And what did you conclude? What did you deduce from the evidence?
We looked at all the evidence that was available to us, and we came to the conclusion that no one is likely to have suffered any harm from the amounts of zinc cadmium sulfide they might have encountered even in a worst case scenario during this period. The amount of cadmium we're exposed to anyway, which is released by industry into the atmosphere, is very much greater than anyone was exposed to from this, even those who were in the areas who were maximally exposed.
Inside Out has discovered that the Lachman inquiry didn't take into account any of the ground level trials done at Cardington.
Some of the national records weren't available to Professor Lachman at the time. We have now seen the missing documents, and these show that there were more trials, but they were never officially reported.
We do not have detailed accounts of the land release at Cardington. We have them from Bewley, but you've just shown me some figures, and the highest figures at Bewley were much higher. So the calculations made at Bewley are more pessimistic than those would be made from the figures you've just shown me.
The scientists in the back of the lorry were dressed in full protective clothing, yet just a few feet away in the villages the lorry passed through, people would have been exposed to quite a lot, wouldn't they?
I do not know the details exactly how this was done. I don't suppose they did it in built-up areas. I don't imagine they did it where there were people about. But I don't know. You may have more descriptions of that, since this particular document wasn't available to us at that time. We weren't asked to consider whether this was an efficient way of predicting biological warfare. But if you ask me just as an uninformed observer, I think this was actually a very sensible way of doing it. They were very similar to the trials that were done in the United States at the same time.
So what is safe exposure to a poison? In the States, the trials in the 1950s and 60s were more openly known about, and there were people prepared to speak out against toxic spraying in public places. An environmental professor, Art Spomer, became concerned about the deliberate exposure of cadmium to humans. Professor Spomer told his superiors about the potential risks of open-air spraying, but initially he was ignored. It was only when he published a scientific article that anyone took any notice. Spomer's article was based on medical research into cadmium poisoning done as early as the 1930s. It was known then that cadmium entering the human body in any dosage or concentration was harmful to health. Inside Out tracked him down to his home in Illinois, and he agreed to talk to us. Professor Spomer, do you still stand by what you wrote about the effects of inhaling cadmium?
Yeah, I don't think anything has changed since that. I'm not a medical person, and I don't directly follow that literature, but I don't think anything's changed.
Do you think the fluorescent particle trials should have ever taken place in the UK?
I have no idea why they did them, because they had better ways to study what they were trying to find out. And so I'm not quite sure why I think it was an unnecessary hazard to expose people to this material, whether they knew it was toxic or not. Although again, they should have known cadmium. Cadmium is known for a long time to be toxic.
Should zinc cadmium ever be inhaled or ingested into the body?
No, not intentionally. Yeah, no.
Well, I think the main issue, as far as we're concerned, was the frequency as to how many times this was done. And this van went round the village lanes and sprayed sometimes 5-6 times a day from the top of the van.
Oh my God! Yeah, well, it's stupid science. And if in this case where if they had some knowledge of the toxicity of the material, it's probably criminal.
There just isn't any evidence, and it isn't that people haven't looked. So, I mean, he can say what he likes until he produces some evidence to the contrary. This is typical of a particular kind of argument to raise anxiety.
It's worrying that Professor Lackman is not seeing all the evidence. I mean, that raises the question of whether or not the Ministry of Defence should carry out a new inquiry.
Coming up, the last attempt to make the trials effective and the legacy that won't go away.
He was effectively lying to me to cover up what he was doing.
Porton Down and the Ministry of Defence have stated that trials would happen again if there was this military need.
By late 1963, the trials were stepped up a notch when Norwich was chosen for nighttime experiments. The circular, contained nature of the city and the relatively flat surrounding area provided the ideal conditions for spraying an unsuspecting population with this toxic substance. By this time, all previous experiments with cadmium sulfide spraying had failed, and a last-ditch effort to get effective results was to take place in Norwich. Porton Down staked everything on their success. The Home Office was involved, and so too were the City of Norwich Police, although officers on the ground were ignorant of the details.
I was approached at my house by a gentleman who said that he was monitoring or recording the pollution from the traffic. He was a man about 45, average build, and wearing a long dark coat and a trilby. He then produced this box type thing to put in the garden. His instructions were, don't interfere with it. He said, we will check this from time to time.
I just thought it was a delicate piece of machinery to monitor the pollution from the traffic.
What the man from the ministry put in Stan Wilson's garden was a device for detecting zinc cadmium sulfide released into the atmosphere.
If somebody had asked me what the apparatus was in my garden for, I would have told them exactly what I'd been told. It was for the traffic pollution. By him telling me all this, I was perpetuating a lie to anybody else who was inquiring about it. I feel completely disgusted that they should have used this cadmium sulfide when they knew that it was a very dangerous poison.
No one was to know. As we now know, police officers were involved. They were not told why.
On the nights the trials took place, a convoy of vehicles would leave RAF Swanton Morley. An operative from the chemical defence establishment would head the team on their top secret mission. They drove to various locations on the outskirts of Norwich to install sampling devices set up to detect clouds of zinc cadmium particles, which would imminently be released from a military aircraft and carried on the wind.
An aircraft would take off. It would fly 25 miles away from the centre of Norwich. At night, it would be spraying out zinc cadmium sulfide all the time. As the cloud approached Norwich at night, there was Porton had a mobile dark room that would be at the leading edge of the cloud. It would take air samples every few minutes, quickly shine a UV light onto the samples just to see if anything fluoresced. The minute anything fluoresced in great numbers, they knew that they had this zinc cadmium sulfide cloud coming through. The official Porton history of the zinc cadmium sulfide program says a very strange thing about Norwich. It says that the exposure was, however, considerable. This is a very strange statement. They do not make this statement for the rest of the trials that were carried out, and there's over 100 of them in the UK. But in Norwich, they specifically mentioned that it was a considerable exposure.
The Ministry of Defence declined to be interviewed for this programme, but they did issue this statement.
Zinc cadmium sulfide was widely used at the time of the trials by a number of different countries as an air movement tracer in meteorology and was regarded as safe.
Cadmium naturally resides in the soil, but any increase in the levels present as a result of these trials and any potential health risks are causing concern. Jean Cordy grew up next to an allotment where one of these sampling machines was placed.
I believe that there could be a link between my mother's cancer and the tests that were carried out over Norwich from the fact that we ate our own vegetables that my father grew. I'm also concerned that my brother and I, as we ate the same produce, might actually end up with the same disease as my parents did. My mother was a brilliant grandmother, absolutely adored her grandchildren, and she always looked on them as her boys, always used to ask how her boys were. And I know of anything that they'd miss her, and, you know, she missed seeing them growing up, which is unfair.
We do indeed see more patients, newly diagnosed patients with esophageal cancer than we might expect to see for the population, and certainly compared to some other parts of the country. Many of them will have worked on or lived off the land. It's quite striking, but I think that probably reflects the part of the country that we're in. We're in a part of the country that's, of course, intensely agricultural, and I think that to some extent reflects that. But it is something that would, I think, make one look for a possible link.
Last winter, Wyn Parry and Norwich North MP Dr. Ian Gibson, amid a flurry of newspaper coverage, forced a health inquiry. It reported that there were indeed significantly high numbers of throat cancer in Norfolk.
There's some kind of evidence there might be clusters and so on. But you see, you would never know because a lot of these agents wouldn't just go into people's bodies, but they would go into the crops that they ate as well. And this being a crop growing area at that time, who knows? Who knows what people recorded on death certificates or records on what's wrong with people and so on.
A second study, this time by Imperial College, confirmed the higher trend of cancer in Norfolk. However, once the figures were adjusted to reflect age and gender, they said it's unlikely that exposure to the toxic spraying is to blame. Now the Chief Medical Officer, Sir Liam Donaldson, has concluded that there is no excess risk to throat cancer across Norfolk compared to the rest of the country.
Somebody should be running around Norfolk now to see how much esophageal cancer there really is, what's been missed, and what the true figure might be. Maybe Wyn Parry's the man to do it.
It's a case unproven, and we have two facts. We have the fact that we have many more patients with cancer of the esophagus in Norfolk than we might expect to see for our population. And we also have the fact that in the 1960s, a chemical was dropped over part of Norfolk and a sizable part of Norwich that we know can cause health risks. They are two separate facts, and it would be speculation to link them. But as a scientist, I think it would be sensible to look at that, which is something that we would hope to be able to do in the fullness of time.
But what about Cardington and Bedfordshire? The local MP, Alistair Burt, knew nothing of the trials which affected so much of his constituency. Inside Out showed him the details of what we discovered.
So Alistair, you've had a chance to look at this report now. Just how shocked are you that zinc cadmium sulfide was sprayed out of the back of a lorry?
It does seem quite extraordinary that it was done in that way, because when you think of the height of the particles when they came out, they'd have been incredibly close to land, to people. They wouldn't have been as easily dispersed in the air as they would have been if they'd been dropped from an aeroplane. And it does seem an extraordinary story.
So what are you going to do now? I mean, you're going to take this to somebody and say, hey, what was going on all those years ago?
I think there's an issue about the times that this was done in. And I think people were more...
Boo! Back again. I stopped it there. I didn't like that guy at the end. The politician. I didn't like him. I didn't like the way he was talking. Dismissing it, basically, as nothing. Whereas for me, it's, what is this? It's heartbreaking. It's fucking terrible. Honestly, these people, they need fucking dealt with. Big time. And again, does anyone genuinely believe or think that this is not happening today? Eventually it'll come out that it fucking is, because it is happening today. Come on. We know. We're not fooled in any way. Especially not by what's going on above us. That does not fool us in any way, shape or form. Did I miss anyone? I wanted to stop it. Lorna, there you go. Good stuff. Good to have you today. Tonight even. Almost. This morning, right? What is it? 22:12 here. I don't think I missed anyone. Yeah, hopefully AKA Zinzoniak, hopefully all is well and your mum's okay. We had AKA on, who joined us on a panel. That was great. I think that was about a month ago now. It may be longer. I can't remember. Anyway, that video. Let's jump back for just now. Quite good. I'm unsure as to what this one is. I'll go on to it. It's longer than I thought. But all of these articles I will be linking in description at the end. In the description at the end, right? I think this could basically be more of the same. To be fair. Again, Porton down. And the zinc cadmium. Which is safe, right? It was totally safe, of course. It fucking wasn't safe. It wasn't safe, and they're driving about in fucking trucks with kids running about. There would have been kids running about playing football and all kinds of games at that time in the street. Growing up to what then get cancer? Eating these vegetables that are growing locally. I mean, round about then, the majority of veg would have been grown locally, like they said. So yeah, they're eating that as well. So you're eating it, you're breathing it. It's probably in the water, you're fucking drinking it. They're spraying it from the sky, they're spraying it from fucking boats, generators, vans, all kinds of fucking different ways. Let's jump back to the article. Quite a good one, this. Let's have a look at, is it a memo? I think it's a memo. A government memo. Where is it? I just seen it, so I should be able to find it. Oh man, I'm terrible when I need to find something. I can never fucking find it. Is it this one? If I do it correctly, it should fucking work. There is a government memo. It's not that one. This is part of the report that the guy had in that documentary that we showed. But I don't know how he managed to fucking get it. A lot of that as well. With it being on the BBC, you kind of think, yeah, how much of that is true and what more are they hiding, right? Because they will be fucking hiding a lot more. No two ways about it. That's what they're experts at doing. Hiding stuff. Is that the one I just clicked on? I think it must be that one. Yeah, right fucking there. It's right in front of my face. And I can't see it. Let me zoom a bit more. So, a secret document. Secret covering. Top secret. Right? Secret S of S. Is that secret of service? I don't know. Chemical and biological warfare field trials. Hip hip hooray. At the Army Council meeting on the 9th of May 1963, when the annual report of your Scientific Advisory Council was discussed, you asked to be kept informed of all biological trials undertaken outside the confines of WD establishments. The attached note, which has been prepared in my office, contains details of such trials which CD, I can't make that out, and MRE we're currently carrying out and is, I don't know what that says, I can't make it out. Forwarded? I don't know, I can't make it out. It's the ink, right? I think forwarded for your information. I am conceived of the vital need. No, sorry, I am convinced of the vital need for these trials which impose no hazard to the public, although clearly knowledge of them by unauthorized persons could be politically embarrassing. Yeah, no fucking shit. Not only that, people would be fucking angry. They couldn't have that, right? Severe unrest. So this was the British government chief scientist in May 30th, 1936, who was convinced that it was vital for these trials to continue, and it was safe. It was no hazard, right? It was never going to harm anyone. Sure, forget about the cancer, forget about the poisoned ground. It's totally safe, and this guy was convinced. Funny that. I wonder who would have been paying this chief scientist at the time. I wonder who came to visit him in his office when they wrote this up. I think we could probably fucking guess. To be honest, let's face it, what I should do is get the guy's name, and then we should check him out. I bet we would find the link that would link it to who would definitely be behind this sort of thing. Again with the trials. I'm not sure if there's anything new in this memo. 50 miles off the south coast. That's how far away they can land this inland, seemingly. I mean, fucking hell, like I said, it's right above us. They're spraying us like bugs now, constantly, all the fucking time. Never, ever ending. I think some of it, I mean, it never seems to end, although sometimes the spraying might not be as bad. But, I mean, that doesn't mean that they're not spraying chemicals still. It could just be that we can't see them as clearly with the naked eye. They could be fucking invisible, basically. Ventilation trials. That's what they, by the sounds of it, went on to do as well. Different railway stations got used as well, underground. And they basically sprayed stuff out ventilation systems. And people were getting covered in it. And they just fucking wiped it off and walked away. Like nothing happened. They just looked at it and fucking walked away. That's what they said, right? That's what the reporters who were there watching at the time said, that people basically carried on with their life. They weren't even bothered. Thought nothing of it. Of course they wouldn't. A lot of people then would even, like people today, a lot of people today at least, they think that the government cares about them. Well, they fucking don't. If you didn't know already, of course, they don't, right? They're bad fucking news, unfortunately. And that's the way it is. That's the world that we're in today. And this goes back years. This guy covered it and updated in 2008. I think there's another video there. Aircraft spraying. We might check this out and then a few other bits. We could go till about 12:30 tonight. A bit of a long one. What's going on here? That must be one of the trials, right? Let's see. It probably says there. I mean, looking at this, it doesn't even look like the ones we see today. This is like bursts. Although we do see broken chemtrails quite a lot. Stop and start chems. This is like bursts. You can kind of see it, yeah. But I mean, like I said, we're expecting to see it, but fucking hell, a lot of the time we probably can't see it. That's the zinc cadmium sulfide being sprayed. Seemingly, that looks like a what says Valletta aircraft. So there you go. Let me jump back. Can I? Yeah, get rid of that. Was this guy here looks familiar? I must have seen him in something before. I mean, my memory is fucking bad. But I'm quite good at remembering faces for some reason. That's it, just the face, not the name. Not the name, nothing else. Just the face, right? Facial recognition. That's what my brain works off. When it works, that is, of course, right? Is this the guy? Maybe Dr. Eric Herring. Let's see how long it is. 23. Fuck it, we'll play it, right? And then we've got a few more articles to cover. And then we'll try and wrap. Let me see actually if we're still going, right? That would be a good idea. We're still going. Good stuff. We're running. Shit, did I leave that comment up? I was meant to take it down. My apologies. Oh man, useless. One of these days, I keep saying, one of these days we will get it right. Right? From monkey cells. Yeah. They like the monkey cells, right? It's so fucked up, some of the stuff that they come out with. I mean, it's like, what? They put what? And what? And then what? And people are okay with it? Fucking willingly accepting it. Bending over and just taking it. Dry, if you like. A bit graphic, that, right? But fucking hell. In a sense, I'm really proud of the people that are not falling for it. But in another sense, I'm gutted at the people, the spineless people who refuse to call it out, who refuse to stand up, even though they know deep down they need to fucking stand up. It's time for their voice to be heard. It's time for the pendulum to take a swing in the right fucking direction for a change. Yeah, so what we will do is we'll play this. There's a lot to get into, so I'm not letting this one go tonight. Hopefully I don't cancel it by mistake or fucking anything like that. Touch wood, right? I almost done that the other day. But we saved it. So, hopefully none of that. There is a few other bits to point out of interest. A bit of a long one, but yeah, feel free to jump in and out. We will cover this video, see what it's about, and then we'll jump into a few other bits, and then we'll say our goodbyes, we'll wrap it up. I'm saying that now. It's probably about fucking an hour away, at least, right? Going by the history of the lives that we've had in the past. But like I always say, thank you to everyone who's jumping in and taking part tonight. I really do appreciate it. My voice is kind of holding up. It's getting there. But what I'll get to do now is make a drink and another whiskey on the rocks, right? Down the hatch. And hopefully this will work, this video. And then we can have another discussion in 23 minutes, right? That's seemingly what it is. So let's get rid of me for the time being, right?
You might be forgiven for thinking this is a 60s holiday camp. It's not. It's lunchtime at the government's top secret biological and chemical research centre at Porton Down in Wiltshire. At the height of the Cold War, public anxiety grew about the goings-on at Porton. In an attempt to allay public fears, this propaganda film was released.
Although television and newspaper cameramen have spent many hours in MRE, they almost always only represent the work carried out here by this.
Yet this glossy image hides a sinister tale of secrecy at the highest levels of power. The West was being used as a vast testing ground for Porton's biological warfare research programme.
It's, I think, inconceivable that that would be done now, but times were very different then. I think that the Cold War was very much in people's minds, and there was a concern that the UK was particularly vulnerable to a germ warfare attack from an aeroplane going down the coast or from a ship offshore, and they really wanted to understand something about how the bacteria spread and what the extent of the threat was, and was it just going to be people in a very small area, or would in fact people over the whole of the south of England be potentially at risk of being infected with a germ warfare agent.
A huge test programme was carried out by Porton Down scientists, sanctioned by government. One series was carried out in the 1960s off the Dorset coast near Weymouth. 2 types of bacteria were sprayed from a modified ship, the ice whale. One, known as Bacillus globigii, or BG, simulated anthrax. The other was E. coli.
If you got close to the ship, you'd be able to see the mist, but away from it, you wouldn't be able to see at all. The spraying was done always at night, because otherwise the sunlight would have killed the E. coli. The BG was in spore form, so the sunlight wouldn't kill that. That was almost sort of armor-plated. So all the attacks, and that's what they were simulated attacks, occurred at night.
Of course, the state in a democracy is meant to serve the people rather than the people serve the state. And we have more democratic political culture now that allows the kind of questions that you're asking to be asked. And when there's no transparency, when there's no accountability, then people in these situations find it very tempting to abuse their power and simply assume that they know best.
It's pretty obvious that we do need to know how to defend the country. I have no problem with that whatsoever. I do have a problem with experiments being carried out in public areas without public knowledge, with no independent safety oversight.
As the 60s ended, Porton Down's testing programme became more ambitious and spread from sea to air.
After they'd done the experiments of the large-scale releases from the ice whale, they wanted to scale those up, and they had a Canberra bomber which they modified so it would hold very large amounts of bacteria, up to about 1,000 gallons, and would spray that from the aeroplane as it flew low across part of the UK.
Throughout 1967, the dual-purpose bomber used as its target RAF Tarrant Rushden in Dorset. Yet the bacteria being sprayed would have been carried some 50 miles on the wind towards Somerset.
I don't think they were any different from the experiments from the ice whale, because they were using the same bacteria, the E. coli mixed with the Bacillus globigii, and the amounts that were released were similar to the amounts from the ice whale, although they did intend from the documents to build up to larger releases.
In the late 90s, Professor Brian Spratt, now based at Imperial College in London, was asked by the Defence Ministry to independently review the potential health implications of spreading bacteria over populated areas.
Well, I was really looking at the experiments from about the early 60s through to the mid 70s, and I was given access to all of the scientific reports that had been released under the 30-year rule, and a couple of documents which were still at that time classified, which were the sort of the basic laboratory report, internal laboratory reports about these experiments that were carried out in the south of England, spraying the bacteria across the Dorset coast, and a few other experiments that were carried out.
The report focused on all trials carried out by Porton Down from the 60s to the mid-70s. It concluded that on the whole the tests were safe, although it did add that some people suffering from chronic illness could have been infected. These people would have been unaware of the secret military activities in the area.
Nobody knew about these. These were very secret, and so certainly if there had been a small cluster of cases of pneumonia, for example, then they certainly wouldn't have been picked up, because everyone gets pneumonia. Well, not everyone, but pneumonia is a relatively common disease, and so doctors would not, I think, have known that anything odd was going on. So I think that's one of the interesting things, that these releases were done on a public that were completely unwittingly exposed to these agents, and something I think we wouldn't contemplate doing, the MOD wouldn't contemplate doing now, but at the time it was considered to be justified.
Justified or not, the report did highlight some concerns over safety. It stated that 4 of the trials were even more risky.
There were a couple of batches which had a rather higher level of contamination, and they were still used. They were put into mice. They didn't kill the mice, and so the contamination was not thought to be important. I did think it was slightly odd that they did decide to spray those particular suspensions, given they had a significant level of contamination with bacteria that weren't very well characterized.
Recently, ITV West obtained previously classified documents from the Public Records Office. These detailed 6 secret trials carried out in 1968. Although this time was covered by Professor Spratt's report, he says he had no knowledge of them before we showed him the documents. Was he, like the public, being kept in the dark?
I'm surprised to hear that, because I did try and get hold of all the documents, and I think if the MOD is going to go to all the trouble of having an independent report, they should show me all the documents. I think just to try and sort of hide them and not even tell me of their existence, I think is not a very sensible way to behave.
The papers relate to a unique set of tests, which were different because they served no scientific purpose. Porton's intention was purely to show off its capabilities to representatives of the armed forces. As a public relations exercise, live bacteria were again sprayed across Dorset. By the early 70s, scientists at Porton Down had begun discussions with the Americans about sharing their expertise on biological warfare. The UK had the technology to tell what germs were being used in an attack, while the Americans could detect their approach.
At the time, the only other people in the Western world or other NATO countries that were working on such a project were the Americans, and they had 2 very good systems. So the chiefs of staff somehow managed to persuade the Americans to come over here and collaborate. The 1971 details, we were told quite a few years ago, and they did produce a document, Field Trial Report number 12, which showed trials procedures. Trials results weren't mentioned too much in there. There was even, we found out recently, a press release prepared should members of the public have found out that this was occurring in 1971. But in there was a slight lie was told. I've got to call it a lie because that's what it was. And they said that no live bacteria were sprayed at all, where in fact we know that they did spray BG live.
And here's the proof. The draft press release, approved by the Under-Secretary of State for the Army. It stated that the spray used a harmless aerosol cloud of killed bacteria to simulate such material. What definitely wasn't for public gaze was this top-secret document. It says one element of the trials involved viable or live bacteria. These joint trials with the Americans took place in November 1971. 4 years later, Uncle Sam returned.
The latter trials, 1975, the DICE trials, Professor Spratt wasn't told that these trials existed. 24 experiments were conducted with yet again a ship spraying bacteria. This time they strapped a Land Rover to the ship because they didn't have the ice well to be able to use, so the Land Rover provided the spraying equipment. They set up the detection systems at Portland Bill in an Admiralty underwater weapons establishment, and it was a very successful operation.
Well, you've shown me some documents which I've not seen, and as far as I remember, and looking at my report, most of the experiments and reports that I saw from 1972, 3, 4, 5 were either testing equipment or protection of buildings or decontamination of personnel carried out at Porton Down, or they were testing the vulnerability of ships out at sea. I've not seen any experiments from 1975.
Boo! I'm back again. I cut it short a wee bit. I think, again, that's maybe a third part to the other one that we covered. It's episode 1. We maybe went the other way about from the second to the first. But I mean, hey, in my opinion, what this is basically only a drop in the ocean in terms of what's really been going on, and in my opinion, is still going on today, at least, from what I can see, from what many people can see. Yeah, germ theory is just that, a theory. We've touched on that before. Snake oil theory, yeah. The Rockies as well. The Rockefellers pushing Big Pharma. Well, they're behind Big Pharma, let's face it. Created basically on the back of the oil that they steal from the ground and then sell us. There you go. Where would we be without the Rockefellers, right? Fucking hell. Let's not get started on them, although they are behind fucking everything. But we would be here. Fuck. How long have you got to speak about them? We'd be here all night speaking about their crimes against humanity, because there is a fucking lot. Big time. Thanks for to everyone for sticking about tonight. Yeah, that guy at the end of that video, I wasn't keen, and I think he was lying. And a lot of the stuff, I think they've hidden it. I think from that program, we kind of get a glimpse into what's going on and what people have thought has been going on for a long time. They're correct. It is, and it has been going on. And it is dangerous what they do, these tests. And it's not to protect us, in my opinion, far fucking from it. It's the complete opposite of that. It's not to protect us from the Russians. They're all doing it. They're all fucking doing it. Right? Of course, it is the agenda in full swing. I seen. Have we sharing? Yeah, we are. Peter Hammond and Carden Carter. From biological warfare to healthcare. Of course, right? From biological warfare to healthcare. From biological warfare, yeah, to healthcare. Yeah, that pretty much fucking says it all, basically, let's face it. That fucking says it all, that. Porton Down, 1940 to 2000. I think this is a book. I looked at that many different fucking things. I forgot what this one is. I think it's a book, as far as I recall. It could be a paper. Yeah, I think it is a book. Yeah, there you go. It is. It's on Google Books, right? But look at that. I thought that was quite interesting. Looks a bit like a familiar character that we see quite a lot. And there was, where is it? I think it is here. Yeah, this one here, Future of Life. Yeah, that looks a bit familiar. And yeah, it's genome editing and the future of biowarfare. A conversation with Dr. Pierce Millett. We won't get into this too much today. This could probably go on for fucking ever, to be honest. There is that much stuff to get into. A medieval depiction of the Black Plague. Yeah, because it goes all the way back. The disease, virus, right? But it was used as well, seemingly. If we go here, actually, let me see, and if we zoom in a bit, that's some of the dates, seemingly, of some of the stuff that's happened in the past, right back to 1155. Emperor poisons water wells with human bodies, right? Again, 1364. Catapulted bodies of plague victims over the city walls. Fuck's sake. 1495. Spanish mix wine with blood of leprosy patients to sell to their French foes. Nepal's Italy. Fucking hell. You think you're getting some wine? Think again, right? Oh man. 1650. Polish fire salvia from rabid dogs towards their enemies. Fucking hell. A big spitball of fucking rabies. Saliva from a dog. Fucking hell. I mean, really? I suppose, yeah, you'd probably soon get out the way from that, right? I don't think I would be hanging about. I would be away. Fucking hell, what is that? It's dog saliva. It'd be too late before you knew, probably. What else have we got? First deal between German and French forces not to use poisonous bullets, 1675. The blankets. I think Frank mentioned the blankets in the comments. British distribute blankets from smallpox patients to Native Americans. Absolute bastards, man. So they are. But I mean, the British do this to fucking everyone, their own people, even. Their own people, I think, probably get it worst. But they've been, fucking hell, they are so brutal. When I grew up learning what the British Empire had done and different things, fucking hell, I thought, how can people be proud of these kind of things? I mean, fair enough, we can't change it. We can't go back. We can be better people, and we can try and fucking at least stop this government and the people behind them, but fucking hell, they are so out of hand. I mean, looking back on history, Jesus, unbelievable war crimes. And I mean, today, they'll be at it just as bad, in my opinion. But yes, so right back, 1800s to the 1155 was the earliest in terms of a year. So I don't know how much of that's true, to be fair, but seemingly that's how far back they can recall using these bio weapons, if you want to call it that. Where's the article that I was on? It was the book. Yeah, we covered that. What one's this? Yeah, this is the one. I think there was something, but I can't remember what it was in this, to be fair. I've kind of went longer than planned. Hopefully, I'll see it. It was about I think it was a chemical, or it was a fucking agent. But it was the name of it that was interesting, right? I'm not going to find it now that I've mentioned it. I should have just let it go. Typical. Let me see. I should have marked it out. But I mean, all of this will be linked in at the end. I'll link it all in. I've got it already to be linked in the description, so you can check it out. I'm looking for this name, but I can't find it. Maybe I'm in the wrong article. But there is a few other bits. I will try and wrap it up soon. How long have we went? Nearly 2.5, so quite a while. My voice has done pretty well. I thought it would disappear basically after the football at the weekend, but we've managed so far at least. At least, right? Why did I have this one? This is a guy that died. Pipe fitter. Infection of bacterium serratia, which would have been sprayed, right? Mock biological attack staged 1977. I think this is America. Yeah, San Francisco. So, I mean, it's right across the world. It's everywhere. They've all been at it. Not just America, not just the UK, but Russia, all different kinds of fucking weird chemicals and weird agents. And it's clearly the agenda at work. I don't know how people can't see it, really, to be fair. The majority of sheep, they don't want to. They don't want to see it. That's quite a good one, actually. So that will be linked in. Secret deal between US, Japanese germ warfare unit going back to 1945. Seemingly they made a deal. I think they would have exchanged different information. But again, they're peas in a pod. They basically work together, right? The only war is against us, and that's it. It's pretty clear to see. Deals get made all the time. When did this come out? 2021. So not that long ago, actually. Again, that will be linked in the description. Japanese Unit 731. Fucking hell. I mean, if you've not heard of them, you probably don't want to be honest. I think it's got an example of some of the stuff that they done. Horrifying. I mean, I don't know how people done it, to be fair. They should, I guess if they never done it, the troops that did, that would have been even involved, I guess they would have had no choice. I'd imagine they would have got shot if they didn't comply, right? In the Japanese fucking military back then. And yeah, lots of human testing with some fucking dodgy shit and some weird experiments, putting people out in the cold until a limb would fall off. Where did I see that? I'm sure I did see it, right? I'm not making it up. Yeah. Yeah, that one there was to see how long it would take for someone's eyes to fucking pop out under pressure in a chamber. And then I think yeah, there was another one as well. I mean, we always kind of wonder how things like cancer is so big and all these other diseases that seem to be rife fucking everywhere. Let's face it. I mean, if it's not cancer, it's something else, but the majority of times it's cancer. That many people are affected by it. I mean, in Scotland, it's fucking horrendous. It really is that bad. And it just seems to get worse, which is unbelievable, to be fair. You'd think that it couldn't get worse, but it fucking is. unbelievably, especially in Scotland, and I've seen it here locally. I don't even have to look in the media. I know it for a fact. I see it here. I think this is the article that mentioned a chemical. I'll probably not be able to find it again. Yeah, simulant. That's what they call it. That's what they tend to call it, right? Or a germ or a bacteria. It's a chemical. It's a drug. It's a fucking dangerous compound, whatever the fuck it is. But they call it all different kinds of things. What it really is anyone's guess, but we know the effects that it has, and it ain't fucking good. And we see it even by that sort of BBC documentary. It gives you a kind of insight, but that'll only be a fucking drop in the ocean as to what's going on. Where did I see this? Maybe it's not this article. I should have again marked it down, but again, this will be linked in. And it's clearly the agenda at work. There's no two ways about it. It's right across the board. They're all at it. They all have been testing throughout on us. And it's not to protect themselves against any boogeyman. It's just fucking on us. And probably to protect themselves from us. Right? Because let's face it, the only war is on us. There was one that it mentioned a chemical. I'm sure it was called Devil's chemical, or Satan. I can't remember exactly, and now I can't find it. But it wasn't an article that I had. I've probably missed it. Knowing my luck. But again, I will link it. And there is more. There is a few more that I've got to add. But I'll jump over to the chat and then we'll wrap it up. Seeing as it's now 20 past and cracking on, what if we went half, 2.5? So we've done not too bad. And the voice is held up. Let me get a drink. For the moment. So we've held up so far. I'll see how I feel on Thursday. I think my voice will be better, at least, and we'll crack on. I think, yeah, basically that. What AKA says. I think that's fucking what it is. Let's face it. That's what we are to these people. I've actually got a light there. I should have put that on. Does that help? Switch it off. That's what they said in the chat. Yeah, okay. I don't need it now. Fucking hell. I'm wrapping up. I forgot about it, but there you go. Right. Next time. I might remember. My niece died. Yeah, sorry to hear that. Bluetooth, fucking hell. Is that with the thing constantly in their ear? I once worked with a guy that done that, and his ear seemed to always leak wax quite a lot. And I don't know, I used to think, fucking hell, is that Bluetooth thing that's doing that to the guy? It was there constantly, and he was always on it, always on it. And I've never used one personally. I've never had to. But I wouldn't anyway, I don't think. Headphones are bad enough for me. I grudge even using these, to be honest. But I'm sorry to hear that. That's grim. I think we did touch on that before. I think there would have been a lot of that. Yeah, I mean, we're under attack from every angle. And these fucking gadgets that they give us, yeah, they're to help us, right? And it's for our own benefit, sure. But then it turns out that it's not. and yet it's heartbreaking. It really is. James, back again. Good to see you tonight. We are about to kind of wrap it up, I think. Maybe when I do an open panel, I can get AKA back on to say hello. That would be great. And then maybe I can get a few others on. James, maybe our brother James can pop on. Or Frank, maybe. That would be great, right? Getting Frank in about. I think, yeah, I think it's pretty hard to argue with how criminal our government is and the people that are behind them. I mean, honestly, how people can't see it. I mean, that's even in the BBC programme, some of that stuff that we covered. It's still on, most of them are still on YouTube as of yet, at least. So, I mean, it's pretty hard to deny that they are clearly criminals. They need to be stopped. How these people got away with that is fucking beyond me, honestly. I guess they haven't yet, or they have as of yet. But I mean, yeah, karma does get you in the end, right? In my opinion. But these people, the government itself, it needs to be fucking dealt with. It needs to be prosecuted. It needs to be stopped. It needs to be taken down. It's out of hand. It's out of date. It's past its fucking sell by date. It's not fit for purpose. They rob. They steal. They use people as guinea pigs. They murder. They mass murder. I mean, what more do people want, really? What more do we want? We need to fucking stop it. Let's face it. We really need to stop them. We need to stop it. It needs to be stopped. How we go about it is another matter. But I think the more and more people that know that it needs to be stopped, it can only get to a point. And then hopefully we have enough people to make a move and swing the pendulum in the right direction. And I don't know, man, it could get ugly. I don't think it would be, it's not going to be roses, let's face it. I mean, what we have said before, what we're in is basically a war, right? We're in a battle. Many battles, but it is a war. So, oh man. Like I said earlier on, I don't even think we're really toe to toe with the agenda yet, but it's creeping to that point. It was the totalitarian tiptoe, but now it's becoming a sprint now. I think now we're getting to a point. Let me get rid of this. Now we're getting to a point. Let me just stop screen sharing for just now. We're done with that anyway. We're getting to a point now where we really have to make a fucking move and think outside the box. We have kind of touched on it before. There is pushback here and there, but I mean, what are they going to come up with next? What, like Frank's just put WW3? Are they going to fucking pull that one out the hat, right? Oh man, what are they going to do there? What would it take today for there to be a World War III? That rhymed. I'm a poet, right? The new Robert Burns, there you go. I think he was a Freemason as well, Robert Burns. Although portrayed as a bit of a thug, maybe he was a bit of a tearaway. It's hard to say with history, you can't buy any of it. But I kind of thought this as well before. What would it take today for them to say, right, it's World War III now. We're all going to war, right? What would it take? I don't know. I mean, look at fucking Britain invading countries like it's nobody's business. I mean, well, they've done that for since sliced bread anyway, but even recent. What Russia, I think, as well, one time that I recall. Was it with Ukraine? They basically just marched right in there. And different things that happen around the world. But not much seems to happen about it. And I kind of wonder what it would take. I think it would have to be quite big, quite catastrophic. I mean, I touch wood and kind of hope and pray almost that it's not going to be anything like that. But it would have to be huge, in my opinion. It would have to be big, like, so I don't know. I really don't know. I don't know what it would be. So I'm not sure if they're going to head in that direction yet. I think there's a few other things before it could end up that way. But there's always talk of World War III, always, all the fucking time, constantly. So, are they gonna pull it? Because that's what it'll be, right? It'll be another deception, basically. I mean, when it comes to war, fucking hell, there is so much deception with war. We've touched on war before. The rich get richer, the poor get poorer. They steal more land, they steal more minerals, they kill off a lot of alpha males, and they kill off anyone else that they want to. Just say that you're a terrorist. That's what they would say. I think that's the way it's heading with us as well now. Because they'll see us as the enemy, right? Eventually, if not already. And they will come. So we've kind of got to get prepared as well and hope that we take the fight to them. And yeah, like someone said, there's always hope. There is hope. There is definitely hope. Your mum had a heart attack. I'm sorry to hear that. I just noticed that comment there. Maybe, yeah, we can get you on possibly next week. If you want to have a chat, but I'm sorry to hear that. I hope she's okay or better since it happened. It's tough times at the moment, but when things like that happen, fucking hell, it can be even harder, but it puts everything into perspective. And you know about what really matters in life, really. A lot of other stuff can be trivial. Family for me is what it's all about, to be fair. And again, that's what drives my fight, basically, against the agenda. The criminal agenda, the criminal tyranny that we're under. I see Kieran, our brother, Kieran Boyle, in the house. Good to have you. Maybe we can get you on next week. That would be great. Wrapping it up tonight, almost the 3 hours. We've went a bit long, but we covered quite a fucking fair bit, to be fair, in terms of the germ war games, the chemical war games. Yeah, a lot of that going on about here, locally. And we did say that, I think now about 3 weeks ago, that fucking, yeah, they're dropping. People are dropping. I think I only said the other day, well, some of the media mentioned that there's a shortage due to a shortage of people. And where have these people went? Where have they gone? Did they just give up their jobs completely? Are they all on the dole now? I guess some of them maybe are. Some of them probably did give up. but a lot of them seem to have just disappeared completely. And now locally, even, we're seeing it. I seen it fucking weeks ago. I mentioned that. I mentioned before that at the football, 1 week it was for 2 people, a minute silence, and then the week later it was for 3 people, and that is the fucking God's honest truth, right? I had in my whole fucking 20 odd years of going to that ground, I had never ever seen or heard of in 1 week for a minute silence for 2 people, and then a week later, it might have been 2 weeks later, but for 3 people. I mean, I had never until that point even heard of 3 people in one season. Maybe one person in a season or 2, but to get 2 and then 3, I'm sure it was within 2 weeks. I kind of thought then, this is going back about 2 months ago, I kind of thought then, look, fucking hell, this is it. We're beginning to see it now. And they were mostly elderly people, which is, of course, who they all juiced up first, didn't they? Unfortunately, the elderly, as my daughter decides to disturb the live. What are you wanting, Lola? Right, go and see your mummy. I'll have to sort her out. Right, come on then.
I spied.
Okay then, put you to your bedtime. Come on then, mummy will put you to your bed. On you go. On to your bedtime. Good girl. You know what mummy's like? My daughter. Typical my daughter trying to join. Again, she's done that before. She should be sleeping. But with them on holiday at the moment, yeah, she's kind of out of her routine, right? So I'll soon sort her out. But yes, she can occasionally try and say hello. There's no telling her. She's my daughter Lola. She's autistic. She can now speak, but for a long time, me and my wife were unsure if she was ever going to speak, to be fair. And that was quite tough for my wife, to be honest. I think we both deep down knew that eventually it would come, and she wouldn't keep it quiet then. And she's getting there now. She has improved dramatically with speaking. It's quite incredible, really. She's came a long way, and we're really proud of her. But I mean, she continues today to improve, and she's smarter than me, to be honest. So I shit you not, she is fucking way smarter than me. But yeah, great to have Kieran tonight. And you're right, it's I'm seeing it locally. It's scary stuff. And yeah, that would be great to get you on next time. Yeah, great to have Kieran. Fantastic. Check out Kieran's BitChute and subscribe to his YouTube before they delete it. Fucking hell, they deleted Kieran quite a while before me, and then deleted my channel. I'm on 2 at the moment, so hopefully I'll still be here and we can get Kieran on again. That was great. I had a great chat. I've had quite a few chats with Kieran personally as well on I think it was WhatsApp and Skype and different things. So it's great to have our Irish brother here watching tonight. This morning even, right? Because it's past now. We are now wrapping it up. I went on a wee bit there. To be fair, I was meant to wrap it up. But yeah, great for Kieran joining tonight. Great stuff. And Pedro, a.k.a. and Frank. James again. Great stuff. Always a pleasure. A.k.a. Yeah, we can catch up again. And I think maybe I gave you my email last time. But if not, you can let me know. We will indeed, in the end. I think Kieran's on the money. With people like Kieran and others, like everyone in the chat, with us, I mean, hey, if not us, then who? We can win it. We can fight against it. No two ways about it. I'm pretty sure eventually the tables will turn, and there will only be one fucking winner, and that'll be us. The Highland Clan, right? Our Scottish American brother, James. Great stuff. And I do apologise. I hope I didn't miss anyone else. I probably did. Great to have Nick as well. Frank, Joyce. I might have missed someone. I occasionally do, but quite a long one tonight. As always, I'll try and leave out. I'll see what I've got. I'm not sure. I don't want to get a mad fucking copyright strike. I tried to get I got a good video, and then for some reason there was no audio. I don't know. I don't know what happened there. It must have been when I was editing the clip. It took away the audio for some reason. So I apologize for that. Next time, I'll get the a good video up, even hopefully. But I think I have got something to play out in. Usually it's Meatloaf, right? I quite like that one. Not the biggest fan of Meatloaf as a person, but the song, yeah, and my dad. And I kind of grew up listening to Meatloaf and other fucking weird sort of bands. So I might go out on that and another few bits. But that basically is about it. Almost 3 hours tonight, right? So a fair whack. And I will link a lot of that in terms of the germ warfare. And like I said, I don't think there's any denying that it is still going on today. Look up in the sky. Keep telling people to as well. Tell them to keep an eye on it. Tell them to keep watching it, right? Deep down, they will know. Sometimes they might just need that wee nudge. You never know. Of course, don't be forceful with anyone. But hey, fucking, we're all adults as well, right? You know, you can kind of gauge it when you're in a conversation with them. You can get a good gauge, ask different questions, and you can kind of gauge where you're going with it, right? And you might tell them a few things that might make them want to look into it a bit more, right? Of course, yeah, never be forceful in any kind of way, and try not be aggressive with them, right? Fucking knock them out because they won't listen. I know what that can be like. And it can be quite frustrating trying to explain things over and over to different people. It just feels like the same person over and over again, basically. And that can be a bit frustrating. So yeah, kind of, I just try and be smart with it and gauge them out and ask them questions, really. And yeah, only tell them if I feel they can handle it, to be fair. A lot of people I just sense, hey, you don't even want to know, man. You fucking honestly don't even want to know. You're probably better off just carrying on. You won't be much hope. You're not much use to anyone. But of course, no, you're better off just, trying your best with people. We can't give up. Don't give up on anyone. Like I said before, they're victims. We're all fucking victims of the agenda. And I can't stress that enough. Right, and on that note, that happy note, right? I'll catch you all possibly Thursday night. If not, it will be the Friday. And we'll play out on on Meatloaf. I think it's the only one I've got. Or the intro that I came in on. That's not that great though. To go out on, right? So yeah, I'll play this and I'll catch you all on Thursday. It will be probably Thursday night. I'll try and make it earlier. I know a lot of people don't like being up late, and I understand that. So I will try my best. It will depend on how things are. So, and what I'm doing. I'll try and make it a bit earlier on Thursday night, right? So that is about it. Bye-bye.
I need to know, do I Half the country fell asleep, but they scream woke. We're distracted by vaccines and TV shows, politics, celebrity gossip, popular neat quotes. Black lives, white lives, which lives mean most? We only dedicate one day to remember our fallen soldiers, the men and women who died young. But if you come out the closet as Caitlyn Jenner, you're a hero and you get a whole Pride Month. The most dangerous pandemic's propaganda from these clowns. The only mask that's gonna save us is duct tape on their mouths. Don't speak. We don't need to defund police, need to defund the media who lies through their teeth like Big Pharma doesn't cure you, dog, cause every patient that gets cured is a customer lost. And big oil runs the world, the only wars that get fought are with the countries who have natural resources they want. Heard him claiming if a white man braids his hair and likes rap, he's appropriating culture. But if a white man acts too white, he's white trash, he's a racist, he's a bigot, he's a monster. Let's just have the conversation. Not every liberal is dumb, not all Republicans are racist. The government wants everybody fighting with their neighbors cause they know that if we get along, we'll probably go against them. They can't stop us, cause we're ready to fight, trying to brainwash us. But we won't let freedom die, the whole world's brainwashed. Everybody pick a team, start a riot in the streets. The whole world's brainwashed. It's us against them, it ain't you against me. How did monkeys become people and people turned into sheep? They put fluoride in the water that's keeping us all asleep. Claim they want what's best for us, I find it hard to believe, cause they've been selling us cigarettes since we was 18. Fake news, fake woke, distract and divide. You're either right or you're left, or you're black or you're white. Big tech don't need a microchip to hack in your life, cause the phone inside your pocket is a tracking device. And I don't know what I'm more sick of, rappers or Joe Biden looking like he ate 100 Xanax for dinner. Cause censoring the president and kicking him off Twitter is a bigger threat to freedom than foreign ballistic missiles. You don't trust the police or the government, but you want people giving up their right to own a firearm. Why would you be comfortable if police and the government the only people on the planet with the right to buy a gun? White privilege getting amplified to reinforce division. It convinces white people that they're favored by their skin, and black people getting angry cause they're told they're treated different. So the conflict is between us and never with the system. Let's just have the conversation. Not every liberal is dumb, not all Republicans are racist. The government wants everybody fighting with their neighbors cause they know that if we get along, we'll probably go against them. They can't stop us, cause we're ready to fight, trying to brainwash us. But we won't let freedom die, the whole world's brainwashed. Everybody pick a team, start a riot in the streets. The whole world's brainwashed. It's us against them, it ain't you against me. Step 1, train the people only to consume. Step 2, infiltrate adults with the news. Step 3, indoctrinate the children through the schools and the music and the apps on the phones that they use. Step 4, separate the right from the left. Step 5, separate the white from the black. Step 6, separate the rich from the poor. Use religion and equality to separate them more. Step 7, fabricate a problem, made a lie. Step 8, put it on the news every night. Step 9, when people start to fight and divide, take control. This is called situational design. They can't stop us, cause we're ready to fight, trying to brainwash us. But we won't let freedom die, the whole world's brainwashed. Everybody pick a team, start a riot in the streets. The whole world's brainwashed. It's us against them, it ain't you against me.
Stinking badges. Just a little seed makes a big tree, standing on its own, thriving all alone. Just a little seed makes a big tree, grow so high, gonna touch the sky. Just a little seed makes a big tree, spreads roots deep, branches far and wide. Masonic lockdown in your hometown. Masonic lockdown, can you hear me now? From the top down, soul shock down, state shakedown, mass breakdown. Global orders, riding over borders. Get behind your doors for the new world order. Dr. Evil and his needle. Dr. Evil with a master plan a false vaccine, like a bad dream. The plan to microchip every woman, child and man. The plan to chip us all, to have complete control, the land, the sky, your soul. Peace like silence in the snow, free to do exactly as you're told. Obey, consume and die, and up to heaven for your pie up in the sky. Sleepwalking, dreaming, you best believe your lying eyes. Skies, 5G radiation, beamed to Earth from space by satellites. The scientists and media tricks, trying to tell me 2 and 2 is 5. Excuse me while I mention the strategy of tension, mass mind manipulation, psychological operation, the general population hypnotized right in front of your eyes. Drama and lies, look into my eyes. Just a little seed makes a big tree, standing on its own, thriving all alone. Just a little seed makes a big tree, grows so high, gonna touch the sky. Just a little seed makes a big tree, spreads roots deep, branches far and wide. Masonic lockdown in your hometown, Masonic lockdown, can you feel me now? Masonic lockdown, soul shock down, stage shakedown, a mass breakdown. Put your muzzle on, get back in your basket, get behind your doors, cause living here is drastic. Dr. Evil and his needle, Dr. Evil with a master plan, a false vaccine, like a bad dream. The plan to microchip every woman, child and man. The plan to chip us all, to have complete control, the land, the sky, your soul. Na 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 na, 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 na na na.
We're taking things that are, genetically modified organisms and we're injecting them in little kids' arms. We just shoot them right into the vein. But you don't have a choice. People act like you have a choice.